The following program is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Good morning, Central Valley. I am your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the most important hour of radio each week, here on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing some rational thought to the crazy world that we live in and helping you to rebuild the Central Valley's housing and credit markets. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted advice. And it's exactly what you're going to hear every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on 105.9, the FM KMJ. Thanks so much for joining us. So did you hear the last thing that Johnny said before we came on the air? This should be interesting. How do you really feel, Johnny? It's an early Sunday morning. We've all been percolated.
I thought I was making great correlations with our subjects today.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
There's a little prep that goes into every show, honestly.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, if you guys only knew what a ration I receive every Sunday morning prior to going on the air when they say, "Where's your book? Where's your book?"
Well, if you didn't write a new version of the Bible every time it came on the show.
This is War and Peace, mind you.
See how many chapters are in the Bible?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Wow. That's a lot of paper you waste every week, friend. I can't even imagine the
I'm
trees.
feeling the love. Her love comes with a slap right upside the head every single day, John. As always, it's so good to have...
Just trying to save the trees, Craig.
Just save the trees. Going green, are we?
We're
going green on the Real Estate Radio Network? Great. As always, it's so good to have my, therapist, my... show critic. That's right. Show critic, Michelle Pittiscavalli. Michelle is also a licensed real estate professional with Valley-Wide Homes here in the Central Valley.
I am, but I've been considering a job change.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, on my way here today.
Yeah?
I noticed like 4 palm readers, all new in the area. I'm like, wow, what's the licensing for that?
So what's the whole methodology behind that?
Yeah, why do they keep popping up?
Yeah?
I'm thinking people want, answers to the future.
Sure.
And for every palm reader who can predict the future, more power. Yeah, I'll buy them coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
All right.
Nobody can predict the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sorry. I know that's a side note, but I just really was shocked at how many places I've seen.
Lots of
There's
palm
a palm
readers.
reader on Palm now. What a great street to pick.
I would have to say that's prime real estate for palm readers.
It is prime real estate. Palm.
Well, the Real Estate Radio Network gives us the opportunity to reach so many people efficiently for 1 full hour each and every week. Our goal with the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market, so we can help bring you
back home.
Hey, don't make fun of me.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously. Well, on today's show, 75% of Americans say it's better to buy a home now than next year, while only 32% agree now is a better time to sell. We'll talk about that in a little.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
California real estate market reached a milestone in March. Did you know?
They have a new baby or something?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Anniversary? No.
No.
It's
new milestone.
It's a milestone that you may not be willing to hear about.
Wow.
And Fresno County sales statistics. Let's compare 2012 to 2013 year to date. And as an agent or as a buyer, as an agent, let's just say, do I need to present all offers? We're going to talk about that in greater detail.
How about as a seller?
Yeah.
Does my agent need to present all offers?
That's actually a very good question.
Well, I'm so glad I thought
question.
of it.
Thank you. You're just bright beyond your years. And what is the ripple effect and how far-reaching an effect does housing have on the rest of the economy?
Well, to adding palm readers to the neighborhood.
And rightly so.
Amen.
And the Federal Housing and Finance Agency extends the Home Affordable Refinance Program to 2013. We're also going to take some interesting listener questions. Make sure you stay with us. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that you hear on our show, it all starts with one phone call to Michelle and myself. Call us anytime, not just during the show, after the show, anytime. Just don't make it at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little too early for me.
I probably won't answer. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website, And check out our resources online at REOFresnoHomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valleywide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valleywide.
To call into us or to get connected to us anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, you heard us mention Press 4. Press 4 is simply this. For all those times that you're away from your computer and you'd like us to be able to share information with you at the touch of a button from your smartphone, all you have to do is go to the Press 4 website. That's PRESS, the number 4.com. Follow the easy setup instructions. You can also download the app from your app store, whether it is an Apple phone, an iPhone, or it's an Android phone. Follow those easy setup instructions, and you'll get more information shared from us to you via your smartphone. It's the coolest little thing. Yep. Let's take a look at today's hot property. Today's hot property is brought to you by Perfect Inspections. Whether it is residential, multifamily, or commercial, use Press 4 keywords, Perfect Home Inspections. Or you can call Jerry Schooley today at 352-6941. Again, that's 352-6941. And yes, Michelle, today's hot property is a Granville home.
Yeah, I looked at the picture. I'm like, hey,
that's a Granville. The property address is 5908 East Lorite Avenue, Fresno, California, 93727. Major cross streets are Church and Fowler Avenue.
Nice.
Property was built in 2009. It's 2,142 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
What a deal.
This sucker is new. Really new. Open floor plan, granite countertops. Granville does it right.
Let me just tell you.
Corner lot.
The pricing on this is, wow.
Property was appraised. 2,142 square foot home. 4 years old? Not quite 4 years old. Appraised with an FHA appraisal for $200,000.
And honestly, in new construction, when I worked in some new construction, $100 a square foot.
Easily.
This is less than $100 a square foot.
Yeah, in today's market, if this was new construction, the property would probably sell for somewhere in the ballpark about $265. I'm guessing.
Yeah. It's a beautiful floor plan too. 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
It is. This property is a HUD home, which means that the previous owners had FHA financing on the property and unfortunately lost it. The bank filed an insurance claim with HUD, and HUD now has made them whole and has taken the property back and is marketing it as a HUD home. And I think the most important perk of all is that you could almost be my neighbor. Yeah, this house.
In that case, we better reduce some pricing. No, I'm kidding.
No, there is an effect on market. Okay, well, if you'd like more information about today's hot property,
Nothing like a negative influence in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I'll just walk over. That's what my son said the other day. He goes, Dad, you can just walk over and show the property anytime you want.
There you go.
Exactly.
Now I know who to call when we get those calls.
Yeah, there you go. If you'd like more information about today's hot property, give us a call anytime. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ hot property.
Ooh, wow. We're kind of like The Voice. You know, we're singing in harmony.
Did you see The Voice? Oh, don't get me started on that. Love the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll see more information about this hot property right to your phone. Look for more hot properties each week right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Top stories in the news. Fresno County. I think we are slowly but surely seeing the death of either the short sale or the short sale and the REO.
You think?
Yeah, I really do.
Currently this ground, huh?
Yeah, this week, 1,023 active listings. Of the 1,023 active listings, 85 are short sales, which accounts for 8.3% of the total active listings on market. 112 of that 1,023 are REOs. And REO, again, stands for real estate owned, or 10.9%. Of the balance, 826 or 80.7% of the total inventory is considered traditional.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it really is.
Very.
The number, realistically, it wasn't too long ago, about 3 weeks ago, we were at 22%. Now it's just 22% of the market accounted for short sale or REOs.
I find that interesting because I have a hard time believing that we're winding down.
Yeah.
Because I expect some more loans to be called and adjustments to happen based on the market. But again, no adjustments are happening in upwards positions on those rates because rates are being held down.
Being manipulated.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's really interesting to me because we talked a few years ago, just generally in the market about the waves that would occur and how every 2 years or so we were going to have this huge hit of a wave where all those interest rates would
flow.
be, where things would come to term, and we're not seeing that due to
so is this really truly the ebb or the end of what we're seeing? And I don't want to say total and complete end, but the delinquencies would get back down to a point where you would see under 3 to 5% as far as foreclosures are concerned. Well, currently the market, REOs are 10.9 or almost 11%. So we're getting closer.
Yeah, in our area, we are getting closer. And
the short sale numbers, interestingly enough, how many of those folks, I was talking to, it was Tim O'Hare at Valley White Homes, and Tim had mentioned he had spoken with a consumer recently that hadn't made payments in the property for, I don't know how long, it had been like 9 months or longer, and received notification that he had a first and a second. Bank of America was the servicer, and that they were wiping away his second and reducing his principal balance on his first by $135,000.
Holy moly.
I asked him, Tim, please get me
everything you can on the information.
Can you get me copies of all that information? I just thought that to be astounding, because that right there keeps that consumer in that home.
Right. Longer.
And how much does that affect these numbers, this 8.3% of active inventory in Fresno County being short sales? How much are we seeing those type of instances affect these bottom line numbers?
Right, a lot. Not only that, but we're also seeing a lot of private sales. Like they're not even hitting the market.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Okay, I'm going to shut up.
Yeah. Well, 75% of Americans surveyed by Trulia. This was a Trulia survey.
They got a hold of 75% of Americans?
No, they got a hold of 2,130 U.S. adults age 18 or over between March 22nd and March 26th of 2013. Now, this was a real estate regrets survey. I
regret to inform you.
Yes. But the 75% of Americans say it's better to buy a home now than next year, while only 32% agree now is a better time to sell. Yeah, patient sellers, along with little new construction, fewer foreclosures, and underwater borrowers have pushed inventory to a 12-year low, creating a seller's market. I don't know about you, but it's been a seller's market for the last 3 years in Fresno County.
Exactly.
Yeah, and most folks think...
I call it the selling agent's market.
Yeah?
Yeah, because really, when it all comes down to it, if you're a selling agent, you just sit back and answer the phone.
Yeah, there you go. The top 5 renter regrets. So these were folks that were currently renting. Number 1 regret was, I wish I had bought instead of rented. I think that's pretty natural.
I do think that's natural, and I think we all look back and say, what if I'd done this, then this would be?
Yeah.
But if that same question had been posed in, 2009, it would have been the exact opposite. Right. So glad I didn't, based on what the market did.
Yeah, second regret, I wish I had chosen a larger home.
See, that tells me that they're ready for a new home, so let's put yours on the market.
And so thank you.
No, honestly,
this is top 5 renter regrets. But
renter
regrets. 1, top 5 homeowner regrets. 35% of homeowners surveyed, I wish I had chosen a larger home.
Honestly, I think the regular process of moving up has transitioned to where it's not such a regular process because of the ebb and flow of this market. And so what we used to do is buy a little home, your starter home, and then 3 to 5 years you move up to a bigger home and you take your equity and transfer it. Well, I think people are having to stay in homes longer and their family grows quicker than maybe they realized. And their need for a larger home becomes more evident versus their financial ability for a larger home.
Yeah. Number 4, I thought it was interesting. I wish I had put more money down for the down payment. Well, it always, and I say
it's all
always,
relative.
It is all relative, and it always comes down to when folks are sitting down and initially having that conversation, what does an additional $7,500 translate into your monthly mortgage payment? And
right
$7,500, I just did it for a consumer in the last 3 or 4 days, and it was $40.
Yeah, it's not that much.
It doesn't make dollars and cents. Pay off another obligation that you have on your credit report if you have the
Get rid
cash.
of the car payment.
Get rid of the car payment.
$400 a month.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And honestly, this particular instance was talking to a consumer that had a $406 car payment, and I said, pay it off.
Right.
It's not $40 versus $400.
And
The
we
numbers don't lie.
understand that it's a 30-year or 20-year or 15-year mortgage versus the 5-year car payment. But just think if you transition that money over to your house payment when you had the time.
Well, and pay an additional payment annually.
Put it in your kid's college account.
Yeah.
Put it in the bank.
Actually, that's a really good point.
No, put it in the bank.
That's a very, very good point.
Yeah.
California real estate market reaches a milestone. Well, let's
talk about that one.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a milestone that I think we all want to be talking about or hearing about, but in California, comparatively speaking, we saw the strongest month of sales that we've seen in absolutely positively years. They were this particular report that was brought to you by the California Association of Realtors mentioned strong sales in higher coastal regions and heated market conditions. Obviously means lower inventory in markets. Probably, I shouldn't say probably, but affected the largest change that we've seen in quite some time. California average home sales price in February was $333,380. In March, it rose by 13.7% to $378,960. And keep in mind, year over year, from February of 2013 to February of 2012, was roughly a 14.1% increase. Well, we saw this almost the same percentage of increase just from February to March, which is scary. Absolutely scary. Year over year increase from March of 2013 to March of 2012. Average home sales price in California in 2012 was $295,630. That was the revised number and obviously we haven't had the opportunity to revise the number for March of 2013, but the $295,630 for March of 2012, that was the revised number. That was a 28.2% increase.
And that's California.
And that is California.
And that's concerning.
As a whole.
For us as an industry, if anybody out there isn't concerned, because no product can sustain that kind of growth indefinitely.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Well, the first thing that you start, or the first thing I start thinking about is, wow, this kind of feels like 2004, 5, and 6.
Yeah, Ben, can you get on that, please?
Yeah, we need to.
You need to adjust some rates.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mean to be, negative, but that's what needs to happen.
Here in the Central Valley, average sales price, February of 2013, $158,000, and this is Fresno County, $158,950, versus $160,510. That was a 1% increase.
From February to March.
From February to March.
Wowzers.
Now, March of 2013, comparatively speaking, to March of 2012, March of 2012 was $135,690, or a 19.2% increase from March of 2012 to March of 2013. Yeah, not good. Well, it's again, it is all relative.
It is relative.
It's good. It's great. It's good to hear the numbers are recovering.
I think what we'd like to see, though, more for those of us in the industry is a stabilization. And they keep talking about stabilization, and then the market has stabilized. But to me, that's not stabilization. If you did a graph of the last few years and then you bump it up 19% in 1 year, that is not stabilization. There's a regular ebb and flow that we're not achieving here, people.
Stabilization, in your eyes, would include what?
A normal, natural growth and ebb and flow to the market. Things go up, things go down.
In terms of the variables, number one, an increase in mortgage rates.
Rates.
It has to, an increase in
because that levels off
inventory.
our pricing. So it doesn't raise pricing, it raises rates. Not that we don't like strong pricing, but at the same time, it has to make sense for our economic ability to sustain here in the valley.
Certainly.
And honestly, if pricing continues at that rate and rates don't go up, we got a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the teeter-totter is not flowing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Slow down. Yeah. That was your Fresno County.
That was my assessment of the Fresno County. Teeter-totter is not balanced.
Exactly.
It's like the big kids on the end holding it.
Yeah. Hey, big kid, get off of it.
Somebody push that kid off my
They used to tell me
teeter-totter.
that when I was young.
You were the big kid.
I was always the big kid. I still am the big kid. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle or myself share with you on our show, it all starts with one phone call. And that's a call from you. Call us now or call us anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our resources online. Go to our website. Shop for your new home. Go to REOFresnoHomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valley White on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valley White.
To call into the show anytime. We'd love to get your input. Well, coming up, what is the ripple effect and how far-reaching an effect does housing have on the rest of the economy? The Federal Housing and Finance Agency extends the Home Affordable Refinance Program to 2015. That feels like a long ways away. And March home sales report, prices are up. Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate. Here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valley White help. Valley White Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free, 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valley White Homes to work for you. Valley White Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460. Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use Press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete's Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete's Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's seats, and then there's Pete's Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete's Seat. Online at peteseats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097. And take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
I was just telling Johnny during the break, hopefully we won't bring the ratings down for KMJ.
Stop talking like that.
Yeah.
I have 1 million listeners.
Okay, I have one.
I know. If
And
your
it's-
one
and that's
quits,
not
then
my
we're in
wife.
big trouble.
Yeah.
But, as long as your one will stay on.
It's not my wife.
And you know, are you sure?
I'm positive. Trust me, I can't get her to wake up this early on a Sunday morning. I get home and she's just rolling out of bed. She's coming out of the room, here comes her and the dog coming out of the bedroom. Yeah. Well, if you're a seller in today's market, this is an interesting question. And Michelle, you kind of put it together this way, do I really get all the offers presented to me as a seller?
You better.
That I should.
You better.
Yeah.
And honestly, I know there are times when the agents will say, I'm just not even going to present this offer. This is just a ridiculous offer. And
I don't see how the agent
can get away with it
because in California, all, that's underlined.
It's mandatory.
Bold, parentheses. All offers must be presented
as
to
soon
the
as
seller.
possible.
As soon as possible.
Right.
Failure to submit all offers is a reportable offense.
And they have to submit all offers until it closes escrow, which that part I wasn't too clear on. Now, you and I had a conversation just recently about a buyer that I was working with who had been given an assessment of the market, and here's comps for this property, and we're expecting it to go appraised value in about this arena, say 130 to 135 or 230 to 235, whatever. Client came back and wanted to offer $10,000 less. Yeah. And I said, sometimes I'll write up the offer in that situation because they need to be told by another agent that your offer is ridiculous. Yeah. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but sometimes as an agent, we're educating them and we're giving them, here's what we see as comparables, here's why we're looking at what we're looking. But at the end of the day, they are still the client, and what they want is going to happen, generally speaking. Right. But they probably need to hear it now from another source because they're uncertain or they're not sure what really, their feet aren't grounded yet.
I call that
that market.
Third-party pitch. And third-party pitch is this. If I go to Johnny and I say, hey, Skip said that we need to do this, or suggested that we need to do this as far as the show's concerned. Johnny's going to say, oh, wow, well, if Skip said it, then we better do it. Yeah, we better do it.
Right.
Well, third-party pitch is that your client is going to hear from the listing agent.
Right.
I don't think you should do that.
Right.
I mean, really.
They're going to hear an honest answer from somebody who hasn't
built
that rapport with them and that has no... Right. So I think there are times when we see that, but still you should be presenting those offers. And I don't care if you present them and say, I think this is way too low and you shouldn't accept it. You are the agent who's working on that seller's behalf, and you darn well better be presenting all offers.
Exactly. Code of Ethics with the California Association of Realtors, and this is Article 1, Standard of Practice 1 to 7 states, when acting as listing brokers, realtors shall continue to submit to the seller all offers and counteroffers until closing, unless the seller has waived this obligation in writing.
And I know what some do to speed the process. Here, I'm going to present you the best 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
And in this market, there might be 10. And caution, it's your responsibility to go over each of those offers with your seller.
Correct.
So, I mean, honestly, let's play by the rules, guys. Yeah. I mean, that's all I ask, is that everybody play by the same rules.
Exactly.
I think that's only respectful to our market and to our industry, because if we don't uphold that value, then what other values are being ignored? And how do we as an industry move forward with the trust of the public?
As a listing agent, it is not your responsibility to play God. It is your responsibility to follow the rules and protect your seller.
Because that's protecting the public.
And as an example, whether it's Bank of America or Sky Hill Financial, 2 of the asset managers that we represent, well, guess what? You present every single offer. The asset manager counters, multiple offer notification.
There's a process.
And every single, as a matter of fact, end of this week, Blia in our office, who works on our REO department, was in the process of responding to all those counters and letting each of those know that we're not selected, that the asset manager has accepted another offer. But everything has to be submitted.
And nothing is worse than not getting a response at all.
Yeah.
For an agent or a buyer. Yeah. To not get a response at all is actually fairly disrespectful.
As an agent, if you're a listing agent, I think it's prudent and our responsibility to make sure that we are that quote unquote soft place to land for every selling agent out there. I really do mean that.
So cozy, Craig.
Well,
so sweet.
My mom taught me well. I really do believe that. I do believe that.
I wish all of them did.
Well, let's talk about the ripple effect.
Explain.
Okay.
I'm throwing rocks. I get that.
I know you're throwing rocks on the water. Well, years ago when the market went into or began to go into the tank, I was sitting, and I've told the story before, I was sitting at my son's basketball game, and I heard an engineer behind me say, some gal was saying, well, where do you work? And the gal says, well, I'm an engineer, and I work for this particular company, and our company used to be this big, and now we're this big. And part of the reasoning was that we did so much for builders as far as infrastructure and plans and all this good stuff. And she says, our company used to be so big, and now we're down to like 8 people in the company as opposed to 30-some. And that goes to show you the ripple effect that housing has on other industries, not just building, not just Lowe's. You look at Lowe's and Home Depot, stocks, and Kate said it last time she was in the studio, stocks are at all-time high. Well, for each home purchase, approximately $60,000 of direct and indirect spending occurs in the economy.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, my gosh, that number is huge. And home sales in this country generate more than 2.5 million private sector jobs in an average year. And what are some of the home ownership jobs that are created? Remodeling, landscaping, lawn and pool service, furniture and appliances. My gosh. Yeah. And sometimes even before the loan closes, which could be a problem. Home improvement and real estate services. And the list goes on and on.
Well, and not to mention the governmental entities. Of permits,
tax basis.
of infrastructure, etc. I mean, really, truly,
permits,
the ripple is endless.
Yes, and also, did you know, or were you in the know, that the Federal Housing and Finance Agency sent out a news release recently, and they are extending the Home Affordable Refinance Program to 2013. A little clarification here. I misspoke recently on the show. It was a couple weeks back. If your loan is owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and it was made on or before May 31st, 2009. I actually said after May 31st, 2009. So I misspoke. It was actually before May 31st, 2009. You may be eligible for a home affordable refinance program. Now, whether it's your primary residence, whether it's an investment property, or whether it's a second home, regardless of the loan to value, you might be eligible. The other great thing about this program is that if your existing loan, you were paying no private mortgage insurance and you're still upside down regardless of the loan to value, you could refinance and still not have to pay mortgage insurance. And I think that is absolutely huge. I think that in and of itself might be paralyzing some folks because they think, well, if I'm upside down, that must mean that, the traditional wisdom is if I borrow in excess of 80% of the current value or sales price of the property, I'm going to pay private mortgage insurance. Right. Well, guess what? With the Home Affordable Refinance Program, regardless of the loan to value, if your existing loan does not have private mortgage insurance, the new loan will not as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very, very rare do we see that kind of adjustment happening with the changes they keep making. I mean, honestly, they make these blanket changes, and generally we find some negative effect to it, but that's actually very positive.
Yeah, how do you know if your loan is owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac?
And that came from the government.
Yes, this did. This was.
Wow, I'm impressed.
This came from Corrine Russell and Stephanie Johnson.
Well done, girls. Well,
they
girls.
Did a great job.
I noticed they were girls.
Yeah, you did.
Good job, girls. They must be a protected citizen.
Okay, that's all right. Enough. Yes, thank you. All you have to do is to determine if your loan is owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. All you have to do is contact us, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958.
We'll get you in touch with Corrine.
No, we won't. We will not be calling. We've got their numbers here, but we will not be calling them. All we'll do is put them in contact with probably Tim or O'Hare, and it's real simple. There's no blood drawing. There's nothing like that.
No shoe size?
No. Name, address, last 4 digits of your social, click.
They're done.
Done.
Nice.
Yep, exactly. And bigger loans. I don't mean pound per pound. I mean bigger loans.
Because I'm like, I know the files are bigger. I mean, really, truly, have you seen one of those files?
Yeah, exactly. It's a 4-pound file.
Yeah,
it means it's going to be more expensive. Well, bigger loans mean tougher requirements. Did you know that nationally, if you borrow in excess of $417,000,
which is jumbo,
is considered
jumbo.
Mm-hmm. Anything in excess of $417,000, it's going to be a little pricier.
A little bit?
Yeah, a little
bit. Because FHA doesn't play with those anyway.
Well, FHA, in each respective county, FHA has what's called their own county loan limit. But anything in excess of $417,000 with regards to conventional financing nationally.
Right, it has to be conventional.
Has to be jumbo.
Jumbo, conventional, and what do they expect down on those?
Well, typically, for jumbo financing, standard, as an example, Bank of America, 20% down payment for loans up to $1 million, 30% down for a $2.5 or up to $2.5 million loan.
Wow.
Yeah, and 35% for $5 million plus. Yeah, and not surprising.
No,
the bigger it gets,
the harder to sell if there's a foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
The more skin in the game they want to see.
Yep.
It only makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. The bigger it gets, the harder it falls.
That's amen to that.
No, it's really true. Those areas that where the property prices are just so much higher. It has taken a huge hit as far as the market's concerned. Well, also, LA Times reports recently, lenders in settlement to begin to make payouts to foreclosed borrowers. Here's what I want to ask.
How'd you find them?
How did you find them? I mean, say thank you. Well, were you reading my mind?
I was, because we've actually mentioned it before, that if you lose your house and you're wandering in the countryside trying to find a new home, it might be the corner, it might be an apartment, it might be mom's house. Cart. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of displaced folks out there.
So where did you go? Thank you.
Well, I think generally on every closing package for a sale, they have where you're going for title and escrow to contact a person. So on a foreclosure, I'm not really sure how that would be.
Yeah.
Well,
as part of a settlement with federal regulators, 13 lenders this past week are starting to pay out $3.6 billion to more than 4 million troubled borrowers whose homes were foreclosed during the years of 2009 and 2010. A chart released this past week by regulators showed that most of the borrowers would receive roughly $300, the minimum allowed under.
Yeah.
Honestly, the time.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
The time that it took
to cut the check for $300, and you got to find them, and they're cardboard box somewhere potentially.
Yeah, the maximum of $125,000 would go to roughly 1,135 borrowers whose homes were seized while they were serving in the military or who were current on their payments.
Amen, and they should get a chunk of change
well,
for that.
I think honestly, those military folks that's
just wrong.
That's just it.
Yeah. And how many years has it been? 4 years?
Yeah.
3 years? Please.
Well, and I've said this
Too
before.
little, too late.
Yeah, I've said this before on the show. My neighbor across the street, and I don't know if he is active military, but he had a VA loan on his home and owed about $450 on the property. And he had been out of the property for a pretty sizable period of time. I think it was 18 months, and then received contact from Chase said, "Hey, we're going to reduce your principal balance down to what we perceive as being market, which is roughly about $265,000, and and we're going to reduce the interest rate on your loan because he was either active duty or retired military." I thought it was phenomenal. And next thing you know, I've got a new neighbor. Really,
Nice.
seriously, I hadn't seen him in 18 months, and he's back.
Nice.
It's the best thing, and it helps to stabilize the neighborhood and
Stabilize the market.
Yeah, the unfortunate
I'd
thing
rather
is,
see it happen that way. You know,
I just
when
don't
people
see-
are being put back in homes.
I just don't see how $300 a person is going to really help
it
folks.
costs them more to notarize the darn paperwork.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
moving on.
If they even notarized the appropriate signature that was...
They didn't, evidently. That's why they're paying $300.
That's why they're in this predicament in the first place, is Jane Doe, Jane Doe, Jane Doe, Jane Doe, and Jane Doe is nowhere to be found. Oh. And did you know, newsflash, housing is back.
Really?
And
Back to attack.
Yeah, what are the best moves for home buyers in 2013?
Do tell.
Yeah, exactly. Well, low mortgage rates or mortgage interest rates and pent-up demand have coaxed buyers back into the market. I just don't know if Fresno County is the market that we need a lot more buyers in.
We don't.
Yeah, we don't. We really don't.
I love my buyers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, if you're thinking about your first home, well, first thing is don't waste time with lowball offers. Yeah.
We just mentioned that a little bit.
Exactly.
Well, because number one, they don't get responded to effectively because people don't take them seriously.
Thank you. And I think that's the most important thing. They're not going to be considered.
And just for any agents out there that have gotten one of those from me, be aware. Generally, it's an education of client that we're dealing with because they need to hear it from somebody else. So do respond if you can. Even if it's your crack-smoking client doesn't deserve this house. No, I'm teasing.
You mean that in the most affectionate
no,
of
but
ways.
honestly, I think it's an ebb and flow of the market, and people have a lot of misinformation out there. So the more information we as agents can provide, better for
Certainly.
everyone.
Second most recommended thing to do or best move to make in 2013 is be the winner in a bidding war. Granted, we don't want you to pay anything more than what a property's worth.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I had one. God, I'm sounding like a terrible agent here. all of a sudden. No, but I did have one that didn't appraise, and that was a concern because I don't typically deal with that. And so, yeah, that can be a concern. You want to win the bid, but you also don't want to win the bid and not have it appraised. That's
Certainly.
not okay.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't help anybody.
No. Related, let's hope that we close on our current home in time that we can buy a new home.
Well, I think some people are facing their fear that 19% increase in our market last year is going to happen again this year, and will they get done in time to move forward with a new purchase?
Yeah.
Economically.
One of the misnomers as far as the market's concerned is outsmart the pros who bring cash. You know, cash is not king.
There's still a lot of work that goes into a transaction with cash.
Regardless.
Yeah,
whether it's
we still have title, we still, everybody's still involved.
But whether it's financing, whether it's cash, I think cash has morphed into, in today's market, the quote-unquote quick and easy way out. If you're looking for the quick and easy way out. If you're not, and you're looking to garner top dollar for your property, cash is not going to be king, and definitely isn't going to be the king of you.
Can I mention some controversial cash situations. I, as an agent, found it really interesting this week when I got like 4 emails from an investor wanting to buy properties for cash, because I think they're actually marketing to agents to not list the properties in a normal manner.
In other words, no need to market them openly. Just bring
them here and I'll buy it for cash.
Yeah.
Well, that to me discredits our industry. It diminishes values in the marketplace because we don't have a true marketed pricing on that house.
Right.
You're not getting
it's not
true market value.
Correct. Yeah.
So, I mean, I caution people to, sell your house for cash. You see it on the corner sometimes, on the
you see
signs.
the signs everywhere. We buy houses, any condition, or sell your home for cash now, or we pay
Some of those,
cash.
I'm sure, are not ethical, but even those that are, I would caution people to get multiple opinions before jumping into something like that. And agents, caution to do that to your client, because you're not putting them on the open market, which is going to help our market to thrive.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully not to the tune of 29.2% over year over year.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle or myself share with you on our show, it all starts right here. And it all starts with you. Give us a call anytime. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. We'd love to hear from you. You can also go to our website. Check out our resources online. Search for your new home at REO-FresnoHomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valley White on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valley White.
So call into the show anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, the new rules of house flipping, and you're going to be surprised.
Is this a rule book?
Yeah, there is a rule book, trust me. And house buying is back.
Yeah. Really? You think?
Yeah, exactly. You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valley White Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing investment property, let the experts at Valley White Homes help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Visit our website at REOFresnoHomes.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals of Valley White Homes to work for you.
Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use Press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete's Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete's Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's seats, and then there's Pete's Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete's Seat. Online at Pete'sSeats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097. And take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, Michelle, did you know that there are new rules to house flipping?
Is it like pancakes? The first one you toss so you can
International House of Flipping Pancakes.
so you can flavor the pan. I think most flippers probably did do that, though. The first one they learned on, and the next one.
So
tell us the rules.
The second pancake is always best.
Exactly. That's what Irma Bombeck always said.
Wow. Well, you know that the housing market obviously went in the tank about starting into 2006. And housing flippers slowly but surely began to ease their way back into the market.
Ease? Is that what we call this?
Well, it was a full-blown full court press, right?
Really? Easing? They're easing in the market?
Yeah, well, the new rules of house flipping currently are, depending upon the market you're in, you've got to, number one, pick your spots. And where do you pick your spots? Where inventories are high and prices are still low. Fresno County would not be one of those. In talking to a very...
And the flippers are like the leopards.
And why is that? They're changing their spots?
Yeah, they haven't changed their spots much.
Wow.
Sorry.
Well, it's simple economics, or what is it? Return on your investment, or calculating your ROI?
Well, we talked about California being, 29%?
Uh-huh.
They were banking on that in the bubble. They would do the rehab, they would do the repairs, but they were banking on that 29% growth year over year.
Sure.
For those few years. And that's the concern. That right there is what we want to know the rules for, because...
It's interesting you say that, because in speaking with a real good friend that is a flipper here in Fresno County and has done probably 350 to 400 home flips over the last 30 years, he had mentioned that the rules are changing here in Fresno County, and that whether you're looking to purchase a property at the courthouse steps, whether you're looking to purchase a property retail, whether you're looking to purchase a property from an estate sale, it doesn't matter. There's so much pressure on investors because of prices. Now what he sees, this is his, he feels like they're banking on that number that you just said.
You can't bank on it, guys.
And you cannot bank on it.
Because it's a manipulation. We just talked about the fact rates have not risen as we expected them to start. And the pressure of pricing is due to lack of inventory. What happens when a bunch of them come back on the market?
And what happens if you're
in the
banking
toilet
on,
if you're not careful?
Most house flippers will tell you if we can get somewhere between a 10 and 12% return on our investment, that's pretty standard, pretty consistent, and something that we're prepared to deal with. But anything less, if you're buying a property at the courthouse steps and you're banking on the fact that you're paying top dollar and that it's going to appreciate 10 or 12%, that's a dangerous thing. And you may, unfortunately, be forced to hold. Number two, cash is king. Well, cash is king only in those markets where you've got lots of inventory and not a lot of competition, where it's really considered a buyer's market.
At the end of the day, whoever nets the highest, really, unless it's an investor to investor, which that's silly, whoever nets the highest is who that seller's going to take.
Yeah. And renovations matter, but make sure that you stick to your budget. Your budget, exactly. Well,
your budget,
you've got a bucket, and hopefully you stick to your budget. If you don't stick to your budget, just like we were talking about.
Get ready to lose?
Exactly.
Yeah,
get ready to lose. Yeah, exactly. And number 4, be prepared to hold.
I totally am glad that's in there, because it's just like any other industry, diversity.
Yeah.
Be ready to hold. Great to sell, but be ready to hold. It's just keeping that diverse product line and having the ability to be flexible is what you need in this market when we see so much manipulation going on.
And that friend of mine that I was talking about years back, and I would say, oh my gosh, it was about 2005, liquidated all of his inventory here in Fresno and Tulare County.
I remember when he did that.
Yeah. Liquidated all of his inventory and then moved north.
Yep. And he had sustained them as rentals for a time.
Right. And that's where I think that all plays together. We were talking recently, and he says, I really need to take a look at my business model and determine what I need to do to diversify for the long term. And I think just what you said right there, that, and I asked him.
Be prepared to hold. If you're doing a flip, be prepared to hold. That's all you can do.
Exactly. Let's take a couple listener questions. Well, this was a question from last week's show. Laura from Coruscant. Laura is a licensed realtor. Well, Laura called up last Sunday and said, you know what, I cringe when real estate shows and she said, this one...
Not ours.
Yeah, not ours.
Yeah, some TV show.
Yeah, a TV show, like Property Brothers.
They don't have a face for radio. That's why they're on TV.
That's why they're on TV.
That's right.
That's right. It's interesting you picked up on that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Like Property Brothers, that blatantly tells a buyer to offer a specific purchase price. And she goes, ethically, I don't agree. And she said, I don't agree.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't either. I think Laura's exactly right.
Yeah.
I think you can advise the public. I think you need to educate the public, but they better know where you're coming up with your figures if you're going to recommend something. It's one thing to recommend a ballpark figure, like let's say I think this property is going to go between $250 and $255 just based on the comparable properties in the neighborhood.
You hit it right there.
I gave her a ballpark.
You gave them a ballpark, but you said based upon the comparables.
Current
the
information.
comparables. Here you go.
And I give them a copy of that
is what's
because I'm like
active.
that.
So this is what's active.
Right.
This is what you're competing against as far as the market's concerned. But keep in mind, an active listing or sales price is just that. It's not a comparable yet.
Right.
It's somewhat of a barometer in terms of what the perception of the market is,
right,
or the sellers in the market.
Well, it'll definitely show you the ebb and flow of moving up.
Exactly.
Or
Whatever
moving
the market's
down.
doing. What is pending, and you may be able to get some information from the listing agent on that pending property as to what it went into contract at, or give me a ballpark, see if they'll talk to you. And lastly, what is sold within the last 90 days and that are comparable to the property that you're getting ready to put an offer in on.
And I think Laura, because of where she does real estate, probably has a trickier time with that.
Yeah.
Like, we're pretty blessed. We have lots of neighborhoods here in the Fresno and the Valley. So we
Very
see a lot of
geographically
model
dense.
matches, things like that. Up in the hills, it's a little bit tricky
It's
because
a lot harder job.
It is a lot harder job because you're dealing with such obscure, property conditions, property sizes, not to mention the house itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the property itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with Laura. I do think it's a bit unethical for people to say this is the amount.
Yeah.
Because I think people also need to take the information and digest it. Some people have to have it overnight. Some people they really have to ponder where they want. And if they want to bid at the price you've recommended, great, so be it. But some of them may come back and say, you know what, I'm thinking we want to go a little higher.
Sure.
And they may say higher because they want the property that bad. It all depends on their desirability of that property, too.
Let's also take a look at from a consumer vantage point. If you recommend a specific price, what type of liability are you taking upon yourself?
More than I want to take.
Yeah, thank you.
More than I want to take.
And I think that's what Laura's getting
because
at.
we're taking education. We're educating the public with the information that we have available. We do not have everything available. I'm not an appraiser, and I'm not going to pretend to be one.
Right.
I'm giving them the best information that I have available.
The other day I saw you sitting at your desk, and you looked like an appraiser. I'm just saying.
Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Craig.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So thanks so much for that call in, Laura. Do appreciate
Amen.
it. Ted from Fresno. My wife and I are currently renting, and we are also currently in contract on a new property. So Ted and his wife have been out, and they were shopping. They are renting the property they're currently in. They're out shopping, found a property, and the property they got into contract on is a short sale. Just so happens that our lease happens to be up on May 15th, and we approached our landlord and asked him if, because our lease was expiring, if we could go month to month until our escrow closes on this short sale. And again, just to mention, with a short sale, there's no guarantee as to how long it's going to take. We've seen in general over time that the short sale process has improved dramatically. Again, though, still having said that, cannot guarantee how long it's going to take.
Right.
Okay. So he said, this is from the landlord. The landlord said he only works with leases. And if the landlord's listening, I hope you are. Yeah.
Can I say that to him?
He then came back after some thought and said that he would go month to month if the lessee, the person that was leasing our client, Ted, if he would increase how much he paid him on a monthly basis. Okay. And then also, at the point in time that he moved out, that he would pay him an additional 1 month's worth of rent.
Does this landlord know there are laws in regards to rental?
To me, that sounds it sounds like extortion.
Well, I think it kind of is.
It is extortion. Flat out, number one, I know for a fact that Ted went to him and said, here's the deal. I'm willing to pay you more. We don't want to have to move, quote unquote, twice.
Right, because that's a cost.
Because that is a cost. And would you play ball with us? We've been a great tenant. We fixed things and not even asked you. Could you help us out? And to me, it sounded like greed just jumped to the front of the bus.
He got excited.
And thought, ooh, I can maybe
make a killing on this.
Yeah, extort some monies here.
You know what? This is such a good example for one. Why to work with a property management company if you're going to rent? Because
the property management company will tell you flat out to the lessor, you can't do that.
Well, the owner, exactly. Yeah. They will tell the owner you can't do that. That's why I think it's so important that if you don't know real estate law, that you are using a property manager, because there are rules for this, and it protects tenants way more than it protects the landlord. So definitely property management is advised. If you're out there renting anything, rent it from a property management company potentially, or someone you really, really trust or know.
Trust. Thank you.
Trust.
And the other thing too is in looking at Ted's question here, the monies that he's asking for you at the point in time that you move out, that's what your security deposit up front was for.
Right.
Is Your
normal
security,
wear and tear.
Normal wear and tear as far as the property is concerned.
Et cetera.
Thank you.
And again, there's laws. There's laws.
Yeah, and the landlord's saying, yeah, well, and guess what he also says?
What do you say?
Yeah, and you could show the property for me.
Oh, please.
And because the landlord lives out of the area. I'm just saying, I'm embarrassed for the landlord. I really am, because it's ridiculous.
And just be aware, there are a lot of tenant rights out there, and if landlords aren't careful, they'll find themselves in court.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's not a fun place to be for a landlord.
Not a good place to be. Now, what was the other thing about Ted in terms of there was a workaround? And I'd like you to talk about it real quick, because this is one of those
this is a
bright and shining moments.
Yeah, it was a bright and shining moment for this particular situation, because the house that they're in escrow on is in the process of short sale.
Yeah.
And it was a situation where this particular person was able to come to terms.
So the seller
and the buyer were able to come to terms with what will work going forward for them to move directly into the property, which will save them having to move to an apartment or something in between. It protects everybody involved. The contracts were written up.
So while the property's in escrow, it allows Ted and his wife and their family to move into the property that they're buying.
Correct. Yeah. And seller is going to benefit, because they're going to caretake for the property, make sure the lawns are done, keep it clean.
And currently there's nobody in the property.
There's nobody. It's just looking like a deficient property on a block here.
Well, and if there's a mortgage on that property, which there is, seller's got to make a payment.
Mm-hmm. So buyer is helping take care of that. But it's a little quirky, I won't lie. You definitely need to have some professionals involved with drafting something to protect all parties involved.
Sure.
Just because you want to make sure it's not breaking any laws.
Yeah.
Because someone doesn't want to become a landlord. That's not their goal in life, to suddenly be put in that situation. It's not something you want to put them in a risky situation.
Especially if they don't feel comfortable, number one.
Right. But that particular seller had moved out of the area and is not in the property. And it just so happened, it just worked out really, really well, where this buyer is getting to leave the ugly landlord that we discussed earlier in the show.
And that's the best part right there.
And
I think
he can tell that landlord, take this house and bye-bye.
Yeah, not that he wants to make it nasty or anything.
Right,
but the great thing is he can move out and tell him to walk west till your hat floats. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Michelle and myself share with you on the show, give us a call, 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website, fresnohomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use press for keywords.
KMJ.
That would be Friend Valley Wide on Facebook.
Oops.
Or use press for keywords.
Johnny's laughing at me.
KMJ. Call Valley Wide to get connected to us anytime. Well, Michelle Pettiscavalli, thank you so much. And a special thank you to Johnny behind the mics. Our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market, so we can help bring you back home. Don't forget to tune into the Real Estate Radio Network next Sunday at 7 a.m. on 105.9, the FM KMJ. Local news, local talk. Make it a great day, Central Valley, and we will see you next week.
The preceding program was paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.